A very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokiji. I'm here with my resident guest, Wakili Willis Otieno, the Deputy Party Leader, Safina Party, and of course, a potential Deputy President. Is that right? Is it potential or Deputy President designate?
Designate.
Sure.
The People's Deputy.
Okay. Wakili, something happened on the 25th of June in this country, and I was particularly at the forefront. I was on the ground. I was at the presence of Parliament, and I literally witnessed everything, even beginning from how that young man was brutally shot there. Up to date, no amount of accountability has been revealed to us. It has now taken the international media to actually reveal some of these faces. But of course, Kenyans are now asking a lot of questions. What is going to be done to the individuals who've just been revealed? What's your expectations? But at the same time, of course, we've got leaders talking left, right, and center. I heard, of course, the Kotu boss, Secretary General Francis Atwoli, say that, look, we cannot allow our country to get back to actually what happened back then. He was talking of a possible rebirth of the country on the 25th of June. And this says that something has to be done so that we do not find ourselves in that kind of scenario. This forms the basis of our conversation today. I wonder, first of all, what you make of these revelations.
The first thing that we must do is to give honor to those of our young people who lost their lives fighting for a better Kenya. They're not fighting for themselves. They're fighting for a better country, for all of us. Bensley Kamau, Denzel Omondi, Dr. Margaret, and the 60 others who died demanding for a society that respects the dignity of the individual and economically makes sense to them. Those are the true heroes of this republic. We are now fighting for our economic independence, economic justice to the people of Kenya. And those who were killed by the repressive regime are our true heroes. The quest for accountability will not come from the oppressor. The oppressor is the legacy politicians, currently led by William Ruto. They did everything they could to stop that which the people were yearning for. They will never stop it. You can never defeat the resolve of a people. When my people say, let my people go, the time has come for the legacy politicians to cede ground to the national interest. And the national interest is economic liberation. That demonstration was packed by the finance bill. And you saw the arrogance of the legacy politicians. Ruto telling them to petition Rakaraka, and he will be there the next day to sign it. And the people said, no, you will not increase our taxes. Some of our young people lost their lives in that fight. We honor them. But we owe them a duty to make sure that the perpetrators of those heinous acts are brought to book. We are not going to bring those perpetrators to account under the present circumstances, because it is those who are holding the positions of office that engineered those attacks. We have a date with destiny in the year 2026 to remove all these legacy politicians from office. And the first order of business of the new administration will to open an inquest, an inquiry, to ensure that we get judicial accountability for those deaths. Those perpetrators must be called to account. It is unfortunate that in that documentary, we are even seeing members or people wearing KDF regalia, actively engaging in shooting civilians to death. So it means this will go even into the KDF, the commanders responsible for the units who killed, the police officers, the commanders responsible for the units who are deployed on that date and killed, the militias, the civilians who are given arms to kill other Kenyans, will all be called to account, and they must answer to these heinous acts. We will never forget the sacrifices of our young people. And for the first time, Kenyan governance changed. Our politics has changed. We are not politicking based on tribe. We are politicking based on what agenda do you have. And it's the economic liberation of the people of Kenya. the Kenyan people will get that which they deserve. And will not come from these legacy politicians. A time has come when we must uproot the entire system that has been in place in this country since independence, or even the pre-independence period.
Okay. As things are currently, there are certain people who actually believe that in this country, the term accountability and the reality of it is kind of alien to us. And you're saying here that that may be true as long as the status quo remain and as long as we remain with these new leaders. So does it therefore mean that the justice that these victims of these heinous acts actually deserve can be delayed for such a long time as long as we still have these people?
Our duty is to finish that which the young people started. And that duty is to remove all of them. You are not going to make any progress with the legacy politicians. We are in a moment of rebirth. The country must have a new awakening. And that is where the young people took us. We are in a new era. An era in which the public interest will be supreme. The common good is going to be supreme. Those who've benefited from the old system are fighting hard, tooth and nail, to stop the inevitable. So you don't expect them to hold to account the people who are out shooting our young people to defend that system. Those are their collaborators. They will do everything to protect them. So it is onerous on all citizens to say, when the time comes, all of them, all the legacy politicians must go. We must fagia wote. And as I've said, the first order of business is to honor in true fashion the heroes of this fight, the heroes of this economic liberation of the people of Kenya. Those who died senselessly at the hands of the police, and now as emerging some KDF elements, at the hands of civilians who are given arms, militias who are organized to kill. We must call them to account. That's the first order of business. The second order of business will be to totally uproot this system of exploitation that has fed off our blood, off our sweat, while those who occupy big offices are enjoying. We must remove all of them, and we must uproot that entire system. The debt that we are paying, the tax in advance in the form of debt, we must go and open it up and say, why have we been increasing our taxes? Which debt is this you are paying for? We must ask the hard questions. We must, as a country, do that which has never been done before in this country.
Okay. Talking of the possible involvement of our defense forces, look at those gory images being portrayed by the BBC, and that particular picture that portrays portrays at least one of the our soldiers, of course, being involved therein. That was during the day, and the soldiers had not been deployed, especially by Parliament. I mean, officially they were not therein, but then already we are seeing that in as much as they had not been deployed, it seems like our defense forces members were also within this particular group of officers who are trying to control the situation in Parliament that particular day against the law, actually. So how then do we find ourselves here? Because we are looking at a situation whereby we thought that these people were in the barracks, but ideally they had been deployed already, as some of the members we've seen there. What then does that portray to you in terms of looking at how the government of the day actually responds to such kind of crisis?
It tells you that the government sees its civilians as enemies.
Do you think the government can actually go ahead and admit that already the
of course they will not. They are the ones who gave the orders. They are the ones who released those officers to go to the scene. They are the ones who gave the orders for the killings to take place. They knew what they were doing. They're not going to admit it.
Does it mean
that... But the onus is on the people of Kenya to uproot this system. This system that can even turn a trained soldier against its own civilian. That system must be uprooted. And we have a date with destiny in 2026. When we go to elections, we must uproot this system and in its place install a system that is only concerned with the public good. And it's only at that moment that we are going to be able to hold to account those who did those illegalities. There was no Gazette notice deploying KDF
Yeah.
on the day of 25th. So what were those soldiers doing at Parliament? Why were they engaging with civilians? There was no parliamentary approval for that deployment at that time. And these are not things that we should sweep under the carpet. It is now documented. It tells you what was being done before the advent of social media, the advent of a more robust media.
Yes.
Before they will do doing these things and no one can see. What have they done in Boni Forest? In Lamu? You don't know. But now at least we have documented videography evidence showing an act that is contrary to our laws. How do we say that you are going to kill our young people in defense of the Constitution? That Constitution gives every person a right to life and a right to demonstrate. So we must call people to account and we must do the hard work. And that hard work can only be done when the citizens take the reins of power in their hands.
So who then is held responsible for the secret illegal deployment of KDF officers among the civilians during that time?
It's everybody, starting from the general to the commander-in-chief, to the CS who was in charge of defense at the time. That will be Kahariri, that will be Duale, that will be William Ruto. They are the ones who bear ultimate command responsibility of our defense forces. And if anything is done by the defense forces contrary to the law, then under the command responsibility principle, they are responsible and they must be called to account. And we should not shy away from discussing these issues.
Okay.
You cannot illegally deploy soldiers to a civilian protest and they end up killing those civilians.
Okay.
These are things that we should not wish away. These are things that should not be swept under the carpet. We should not give PR speeches that no stone will be left unturned. The onus is on the people of Kenya to say the time to get to the rock bottom of everything is now. And we must call all those who've exercised authority in this period to account. And we are only going to achieve that when we have a political establishment that is pro-people, that is put in place by the people, with a commitment to open up those files. And I always say it, and I've said it on this platform, criminal law has no limitation of action period. We will call these people to account. They will have their date with destiny, and they must answer. Kila mtu atabeba msalaba wake.
Okay. Anyway, still having this kind of question, of course, what do you make of the sentiments by the Court Secretary General Francis Atwoli? He said that, look, we almost went into some sort of a rebirth, according to him, on 25th of June. And of course, he likened that to what happened in 2007, and as much as these are different scenarios and situations. But then he said that, look, all this kind of, because if we look at it, that whatever happened on June and how people were managed to be brought on board, even on the finance bill on itself, the mobilization happened online and people were engaging on X, on Facebook, on TikTok, everywhere. And that is why Kenyans came and filled the city with such kind of number and magnitude. He's saying, look, we must reach a point where we can control the use of social media in this country, because he says, look, something like TikTok, it's invented in China and it's operated from that particular country, so to say, but then it's controlled there. Why don't we then control it here? Do you think that we should actually go that particular direction where we can control how people interact on the social media platforms and what they consume?
What is the wrong that TikTok, X, and Facebook has done? Facebook, TikTok, and X did not take a gun to shoot our young people.
Yes.
So why do you want to control them? Facebook, TikTok, and X merely documented what was happening. So you should not lay blame on the platforms that were used to capture the atrocities being committed against the people of Kenya. The wrong is the illegal act being committed against the people of Kenya, not the documentation of that wrong act. So Francis Atwoli is trying to gaslight us. But you must understand where Francis Atwoli is coming from. He's a house nigger. He's very comfortable where he sits. The system serves him. He's feeding off crumbs from that system.
Okay.
So anything that changes the conversation to be about the people, he sees himself as losing. So he's driven by selfish interest, not the common good of the people of Kenya. Those are archaic ideas. Francis Atwoli was with Moi. I even think he was with Kenyatta. He was with Moi. He was with Kibaki. He was with Uhuru. He's now with Ruto. When has Francis Atwoli ever stood up to speak for the people of Kenya? All we know is there's no difference between Francis Atwoli and Mugabe. If anything, Mugabe served and left. Atwoli has been Court Secretary General since I was born. For all I know, I've never known any other Secretary General of Court. He's always been there. But look at the plight of the workers, who are even most affected by the finance bill, if not the Kenyan worker. That people are fighting to get the economic justice. Did you hear Atwoli's voice? No. If he kept quiet when people are advocating for a just society, let him continue keeping quiet, even when the aftermath is shown. He should not now come and start lecturing us on regulating social media. He should be talking about retirement.
The argument from the Court Secretary General and other like-minded individuals is that when they look at what actually happened on 25th of June, the year 2024, it's that, of course, there was that legitimate concern from the young people. But then there is also this aspect of certain individuals who actually may have taken advantage of the same. And they are saying that this actually led to the misuse of the social media platforms. And that is why people are mobilized and led us to
the people are mobilized to go and do what? They were mobilized to go and do that which is allowed in their constitution. To demonstrate. That's Article 37. Nobody mobilized anybody on social media to carry a gun to go and shoot civilians or to shoot police. There's no that kind of mobilization. Why do they have a problem with people mobilizing to speak their views? You don't have to like the message, but the Constitution guarantees the individual the right to pass that message. Why are they jittery? That's what I'm saying. We must call them out. No social media platform used a gun to kill any Kenyan or kill any police officer or any public official. Why are they trying to run away from the true picture? The true picture is that social media documented the atrocities that was being committed against the people of Kenya just for exercising their rights in the Constitution. We should not entertain that kind of thought. Atwoli never said he rejected the finance bill. He supported it. So why is he speaking now? Because now they have been exposed that the system they were supporting killed our young people. But now the young people have a platform where they can converse and discuss things that before were not known to them. And Kenyans have used social media as a platform to offer civic education, to learn about their governance, to engage and share ideas. Why do you think Atwoli will want to limit that right? Because with an enlightened population, he will be asked questions. Even his long tenure at Kotu, he will be asked questions. What have you done for the people, the workers in this country? What is your continued being in office? How does it relate to our Article 81 of the Constitution on periodic regular elections? What about the principles in our Constitution on term limits? He served for eternity. He has nothing new to offer. So he's feeling personally threatened when these kind of conversations are held. Hence, the dictatorial tendency to revert to what he knows. He served Moi when Moi was a dictator. What do you expect of him today? He's not a Saul to Paul.
So we are talking about rebirth here, what we almost witnessed on 25th of June. Maybe according, because they are saying that we should not allow ourselves to get there. I wonder whether the understanding of the term rebirth of a country here now is a little bit not convenient on the other side. That is why those who are pro-government are actually fighting it. But what would you define as the country's rebirth here? And is it good for the country right now? And if it did not happen then will it happen anytime soon?
What I'm telling you is that rebirth moment that we had on 25th of June. I said it then and I say it today. Things will never be the same again. It is from the 25th of June that you've seen things happening upside down. Nobody ever expected Gachagua to be impeached. Nobody ever expected Raila and Ruto to be shaking hands, to work in the same government. They are all responding to that rebirth moment. How do you deal with this? The Kenyan peoples, their eyes have been opened up. Their ears are now open. They are now more attuned to governance. And they've understood the power that lies in the hands of the people. The legacy politicians will do everything topsy-turvy to try to circumvent that. Unfortunately, they are few, we are many. And they cannot defeat the force of a people. A people united can never be defeated. The legacy politicians will not defeat the people of Kenya. That I assure you. The Rebirth moment means we are now in a new society. And we must only but attune our governance to the desires of that new society. A society that leadership should be a service to the people. Not that you aspire to a position of leadership for self-aggrandizement, to accumulate wealth for yourself, and you mess up the economy for the rest of the people. No. We are past that. We crossed the Rubicon. We'll never go back.
Are there chances that this particular rebirth that you're talking about would have turned chaotic and gone the other way? Because according to them, they're saying, yes, we would have had a rebirth, but then it would have turned into what we've witnessed maybe in Somalia,
you know, for me,
South Sudan or any
for me, I draw my comfort and solace in the fact that I never saw a civilian turn up against a fellow civilian. I never saw a civilian killed by a civilian during the young people's demonstrations. I never saw it. So those are just scaremongering.
Okay.
Scare tactics. Kenyans are not fighting against fellow Kenyans. Kenyans were fighting against an issue. They were fighting for economic justice. So, tough luck. Somali, they had militias carrying guns fighting against fellow militias. Don't compare us with Somalis, who had carried guns, different militias fighting to control cities. Kenyans were fighting an issue. Economic justice, economic independence. That is what they were about.
Okay.
So, the legacy politicians will try to tell you, oh, the country will have broken up, we will have gone the way of Somali, we will have been a civil war. Civil war with who? Who and who? There was no Kenyan fighting a fellow Kenyan. I saw Kenyans united in spite of their tribe, their age, their gender, their previous political affiliations, fighting for economic justice. They are fighting for economic freedom. So where is this that we are going to turn into a civil war? Civil war, who will be fighting who?
Okay. Finally, if you look at it, what happened back then, it's now a factor and definitely might inform the kind of choices that Kenyans will make in the next general elections. Do you think that in as much as the government does not want to hold the perpetrators of these heinous acts accountable, at least up to now nothing has been done, that Kenyans may actually politically hold those who hold these offices accountable during the elections?
Of course. That's why I said they have a date with destiny.
Okay.
In August 2026. Their date with destiny is coming. They will be called to account. And the first step will be for them to be voted out. All these legacy politicians will be voted out. Once they are voted out, we will start the criminal justice process. Where they will be called to each answer to the heinous acts they committed against the people of Kenya. Then we will now move to the next step. But we cannot forget, and we cannot say that we should not open old wounds. We will only be doing justice. Justice is not about opening old wounds. Justice is about making sure that the right thing is done. Even when it appears inconvenient.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's wait and see what really happens. Will the government act and ensure that all those people who perpetrated those acts of mayhem against Kenyans on the 25th of June will actually be brought to book? Let's wait and see. Till then, allow me to stop this conversation at this point. You can weigh in and tell us what you actually think. Till we have it again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okini.